of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time are for championship belts. Because even though there are championship matches all of the time across WWE premium live events throughout the year, heck, even sometimes on Raw and SmackDown, there's something extra special about championship matches happening at WrestleMania. With WrestleMania being the biggest show of the year, these champions and challengers are gonna bring their A+ game, because it's their chance to be seen by the most amount of people and their chance to get that confetti and the fireworks, and for them to be able to etch their names in the WWE history books. So today we're going to be looking at what I think are the greatest championship matches in WrestleMania history for the past 20 years. I do 20 years because that's about how long I've been watching wrestling. So we're going to go from WrestleMania 19 all the way up to WrestleMania 39. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we upload daily wrestling content. And we are so close, less than 2,000 subscribers away from reaching 200,000 subscribers here on this channel. For context, I started posting on this channel in May of 2023, so we're about to reach 200,000 subscribers in less than a year of posting on YouTube, which I'm incredibly grateful for, but still frankly dumbfounded by. And even though I had no expectations, right now my expectations are through the roof because I'm trying to reach that 200,000 subscriber mark before night one of WrestleMania. So if you know any wrestling friends that might be interested in a new wrestling YouTuber, go ahead and toss them my name. All right, let's get to the video. Starting off in the year 2003, we're gonna start off with WrestleMania 19. Now, this is a rare WrestleMania that actually had a lot of title matches throughout the entire show. What you're gonna notice is that throughout the WrestleMania 20s, from 20 to 29, sometimes there was only 2, max 3 championship matches, but WrestleMania 19 actually had a good handful of them. However, out of the handful of different title matches, I'm keeping it simple, stupid. It's gotta be Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. This isn't even their best match throughout this feud because they've had some absolute classics, but this was an absolute classic in its own right. Even if it ended with the botched shooting star press, it doesn't matter because Brock Lesnar is a freak of nature and just stood up with what would have killed a regular human being and still managed to finish out the match. But it's honestly a clinic of technical wrestling. 2004 puts us at WrestleMania 20 from Madison Square Garden. And just like 19, there's actually a handful of different title matches to choose from. In fact, this is the first championship that John Cena wins. He wins the United States Championship against The Big Show. So it's kind of an important championship win, but that's not the best championship match. There was even a hair versus hair match between Victoria versus Molly Holly for the women's championship. So there's quite a few to pick from here, but again, we kept it simple. The triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit. A lot of people do like Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero, but this one's just objectively better. In fact, to this day, I don't think I've seen a triple threat match with more chemistry between all 3 guys in the ring. These guys just worked magic throughout the entirety of this nearly 30-minute classic. 2005 puts us at WrestleMania 21, and from here on out, for a couple years, this is where we're gonna start seeing a big lack of championship matches. WrestleMania 21 does have the crowning of both John Cena and Batista, really cementing the next generation of top stars. So there's 2 world title matches on this card, but there's also the Trish Stratus versus Christy Hemme for the WWE Women's Championship match that went on for 5 minutes. Trust me, it's not gonna be that one. Look, this one actually isn't even close because John Cena versus John Bradshaw Layfield, yes, it's an iconic match because it's John Cena's first championship victory, but it's not a particularly great match. Meanwhile, Batista versus Triple H, on the other hand, is a very, very good match. In fact, I feel like it's underrated. A lot of Batista matches at WrestleMania are frankly underrated. A lot of people do not give Batista the praise that he deserves for some of the great WrestleMania matches that he's put on. And this was, to me, extra special because this was the death of Triple H's run of terror, which was terrorizing the entirety of the WWE universe for the better part of like 3 years. 2006 puts us at WrestleMania 22. It's the big time in Chicago. This one had 4 different WWE title matches, including the United States Championship match between JBL, Chris Benoit. That was okay. Mickie James, Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship was actually a very good women's match. But then we also had the fantastic John Cena Triple H, which I think is a very good match that closed the show for the WWE Championship, but I personally like this more. The triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. The only downside of this is that it's only 9 minutes long, but I actually think that also works in its favor because it's so quick, lightning fast, and it's one of those matches that it's really easy to rewatch because you don't need to sit there for 25 plus minutes. This match is kind of perfection. Again, a lot of people complained back then that it was too short. I think out of all of the championship matches on this card, not only do I think it was the best, but it's also aged the best. 2007 gives us the Battle of the Billionaires WrestleMania 23, and this one had some less than memorable championship matches. Like, were you aware that Melina defeated Ashley Mazzaro in a lumberjill match that took a total of 3 minutes? It did have a couple of great championship matches, don't get me wrong. John Cena versus Shawn Michaels is a very objectively good match. It also had Chris Benoit versus MVP, which is a pretty decent match for the United States Championship. But in my opinion, again, another underrated WrestleMania match is Batista versus The Undertaker. And yes, it is significantly shorter than John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, but I think that actually, once again, works in its favor because it just allows these two to jam-pack as much action and as much drama in a shorter amount of time, which just makes it a more digestible championship match, far more so than John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. I loved Batista versus The Undertaker, and one of Undertaker's most underrated streak matches as well. Next up is 2008, and it's WrestleMania 24, the WrestleMania that ended the career of Ric Flair for the first of many more times to come. Now, a couple of the championship matches that stand out would be the triple threat between Randy Orton, Triple H, and John Cena. We also had at the time, I think it might still be a WrestleMania record actually, Kane versus Chavo Guerrero for the ECW Championship, a match that took a total of 11 seconds. And then we had what I think was the best championship match of the show, which is The Undertaker versus Edge, World Heavyweight Championship. It closed the show. One of Undertaker's best streak matches, and the one time up until this moment that I genuinely thought that the streak was going to end. The only downside of this match, in my opinion, was the inclusion of the edge heads closer to the end of the match, but still, it's fine. It doesn't really take away too much, but I would have just loved for this to have been a one-on-one classic with no shenanigans. The year is 2009, and now we're at WrestleMania 25, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, which if you actually do the math, it technically isn't. Anyways, one of the things that I don't know if you've noticed up to this point is that every match that I've picked has been a world championship match because WrestleManias back then really did not give a lot of tender love and care to their women's championship matches. God forbid there was a tag title match at WrestleMania, and their mid-card titles were usually relegated to really short 6-7 minute matches, which weren't particularly great either. And sadly, this is another example of that. Some of the championship matches that to note from this WrestleMania would be Triple H versus Randy Orton. That was, in my opinion, hot garbage. Rey Mysterio versus John Bradshaw Layfield, Intercontinental Championship. Here's a perfect proof in the pudding of what I just was just saying. 21 seconds. It was 21 seconds long between two WWE Hall of Famers, with Rey Mysterio beating JBL. But what I thought was the best title match for this year's WrestleMania, and I don't think this match is particularly that great, is Edge, Big Show, and John Cena. Frankly, this is a travesty that the Big Show is in this, because this should have just been John Cena versus Edge for the world title. No ifs, ands, or buts, and we would have finally had that WrestleMania quality rivalry between Cena and Edge that we never got. But no, the fucking Big Show just had to be involved in this. But hey, at the very least, it did give us this really cool moment, which I don't think is that cool of a WrestleMania moment, because it would have been cool if he actually AA'd both of them, but he held them there for like a quarter of a second. Is it impressive? Absolutely, because I don't think I would be capable of doing this, but I don't think that this is particularly a good enough reason to say this was a great match. 2010 was WrestleMania 26, and the year that title matches completely took a backseat at WrestleMania, because this was all about Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, streak versus career. You remember how I said, God forbid that the tag titles make it to WrestleMania? Just for example, as to how the tag titles were treated back then, Show Miz versus John Morrison and R-Truth for the Unified WWE Tag Team Championship. 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes long. Aside from that, the other championship matches would have been Chris Jericho versus Edge, which was So I went kind of by default. John Cena versus Batista. It's nowhere near as good as their match at SummerSlam previously, but it's cool that it's John Cena and Batista. Literally, that's the reason why this is getting the win here. 2011 gives us the cursed WrestleMania 27. Here's the thing. This whole WrestleMania had a total of 2 title matches. The Intercontinental Championship was not on the show. The tag titles were not on the show. The Divas title was not on the show. And the United States Championship was on the show in a dark match, not a pre-show, a dark match, something that didn't air anywhere between Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. So does that even fucking count? That's just the most glorified house show match of all time. Look, this is obviously not gonna go to John Cena versus The Miz, quite literally by default, because it's the only other championship match on this show not named John Cena versus The Miz. It's gonna go to Alberto you get the rest, versus Edge. Admittedly, it's a good match. It's just one of those matches where I think the wrong person won. With hindsight, I know we all hate Del Rio, but back then it was weird that Del Rio didn't win. But yeah, this is a fine 13, 14-minute match for the World Heavyweight Championship, but it's not anything that couldn't have happened at like Payback or Unforgiven or any B-tier pay-per-view. This just wasn't WrestleMania worthy, but again, it had no competition. 2012 is WrestleMania 28, and just like WrestleMania 26, this was a year that title matches completely took a backseat because it was all about John Cena versus The Rock. A couple of the other championship matches that happened was Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan for the World Heavyweight title. 18 seconds. It's not gonna win this. I'm not putting an 18-second match on here. There was a Big Show versus Cody Rhodes match for the Intercontinental Championship. Although it was only 5 minutes, it actually wasn't that bad. So I'm going to be giving this to the WWE Championship match between CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, which is actually admittedly a very, very good match. It's just completely forgotten because it went right before The Rock versus John Cena, because for some reason the WWE just at that time wanted to hide CM Punk and make sure that he didn't get any of the limelight that ended up always going to John Cena and The Rock. Part of the reason why I also think that this match isn't particularly remembered is because, look, I love Chris Jericho. I think he's a GOAT, but I never really saw him as like this WrestleMania title match megastar. CM Punk was, though. 2013 was another one of those WrestleManias where I didn't really have too many options to go with. It's WrestleMania 29. I don't think it was particularly that great, but it was, in my opinion, far and away the best championship match of the show, The Rock versus John Cena. Is it just a 25-minute finisher fest? Yes. Yes, it is. Did The Rock rip his pelvis off of the bone? What is it? What did he, like, his quad? It was something, groin. He tore something. It was a groin. Yeah, he tore his groin off the bone, as The Rock would always say. And it meant that we had kind of like a 25% Rock for most of the match. But I guess the star power kind of just carried this. 2014 is WrestleMania 30. And when you're gonna laugh when I say this, because the only other championship match aside from the one that won is a Vicky Guerrero Invitational match for the WWE Divas Championship. It wasn't ever going to go to that. This was easy. It was going to be Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista in the culmination of one of the best storylines in WWE history. This was fantastic. I love the team up between former members of Evolution against Daniel Bryan. I love Daniel Bryan's resilience as this underdog. It was just a very well choreographed match. 2015 gave us the sneaky good WrestleMania 31. And not only was the show sneaky good, but kind of every single championship match on this show was good in some regard. Listen to this. We had John Cena versus Rusev for the US title. That match was a banger. We had the Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns with the heist of the century. Absolute banger. We also had the fantastic, which is what I ultimately ended up going with, the the ladder match. Do you guys remember this ladder match? The ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship where Luke Harper absolutely folded and murdered Dean Ambrose? Trust me, go watch this. And it was a nice emotional return for Daniel Bryan as well. It's these ladder matches that got me excited for this upcoming tag team ladder match at WrestleMania 40. 2016, WrestleMania 32, one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. Don't worry, this isn't gonna go to Triple H versus Roman Reigns. It's gonna go to the admittedly very good triple threat match for what was supposed to be the Divas Championship, but was then changed very nicely and appropriately to the WWE Women's Championship. These three just had impeccable chemistry. They were both, all three of them were young in their prime, doing ridiculous moves. This match is an all-time women's classic at WrestleMania. 2017 is WrestleMania 33, and I almost gave this to Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg because I've been on the record on this channel saying how underratedly good that match is, but I ended up going with the Raw Tag Team Championship triple threat ladder match, not because it was necessarily a great ladder match. It was a good ladder match. It was nowhere near as good as the IC ladder match at WrestleMania 31, but because it had the return of the goddamn Hardys. Come on. Come on, like literally, that's a good enough reason to have it on here. 2018 gave us WrestleMania 34, which I think there is a debate at least to be had that this is up there with WrestleMania 32 as one of the worst recent WrestleManias in history. Here's the thing though, this was a WrestleMania that was not afraid to have title matches on the show because there were plenty of title matches. If we go through the list, all right, we had a tournament for the vacant WWE Cruiserweight Championship. We had a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. We had a match for the WWE SmackDown Women's title. We had a WWE United States Championship match. We also had the SmackDown tag titles on the line. And we also, of course, had the world title on the line as well. So this was a WrestleMania that had a lot of gold on the line. However, if I have to pick one, it's gonna go to the very fantastic Charlotte versus Asuka. Do we think that this had the wrong winner? I still think so to this day. I don't know why Asuka went on to win the Royal Rumble only to come here and lose her undefeated streak and also be the first ever women's Royal Rumble winner and lose instantly. Bizarre. I get it. They were trying to crown Charlotte. But that aside, this match is actually very good. 2019, just like the previous WrestleMania, WrestleMania 35 was packed with every single title being on the show. However, I'm literally not gonna explain this. It needs no explanation. We're all in agreement, right? This, like there's no debate. It's this. 2020, the Pandemomania also had a lot of championship matches. None of them particularly stood out to me as really good. I almost went with the tag team ladder match, but that lost a lot of its flair because of all of the COVID restrictions. They couldn't have that many people be in a match. So it was a tag team match, but only one member of the tag team was competing in it. So that was honestly too convoluted. So I just went with the simple answer, the NXT Women's Championship match between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Yes, they would go on to have an even better match at WrestleMania 39. But when I looked head to toe, this was the most traditionally good WrestleMania match out of all the other matches that were on the show, because all of the other ones were nerfed for the most part in some capacity or disappointing, like Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. This match was exactly what it projected it to be. It was good from beginning to end. Did it steal the show? I don't think so, but it's the Pandemomania. No one's gonna remember this show. WrestleMania 21, okay? Before you start throwing tomatoes at me, look, I need to talk about this for a second. I've been on the record saying that I think that the best match of WrestleMania in 2021 is the triple threat between Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge. And who can blame me? That match is objectively very good. However, I just recently rewatched this WrestleMania, and right now, my opinion has changed. And I'm a human. My opinions change all the time. That's how we are. We don't have to be defined by one set opinion. We can change our opinions from time to time. And that's recently changed back to this, which was the match that I originally thought was the best championship match. Then it changed to the triple threat, and now it's back to this because Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair is a certified fucking classic. This match is so incredibly good. I think that it's better than Charlotte versus Asuka. I think that this is the best women's match in WrestleMania history. WrestleMania in 2022 was WrestleMania 38, and it was kind of a hot garbage WrestleMania, but this was not hot garbage. Look at that. Bianca Belair once again putting on another classic at WrestleMania for the Women's Championship. This this time against big time Bex, the man, Becky Lynch. These two just put on a technical clinic, and they had so much drama in terms of their in-ring choreography and so many awesome close kickouts. This is a really, really great match, and this wrote every wrong from what happened at SummerSlam earlier that year with their 8-second match. And 2023 was WrestleMania 39, and there are so many to pick from because so many title matches were excellent. You had the amazing Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. You had the great main event between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. You had the fantastic Intercontinental Championship match. Sure, the US title match, John Cena, Austin Theory, just kidding, that match was garbage. But I ended up going with what I ended up picking as my best match of the year. That was the tag title match between the Usos, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. To me, this match is a literal perfection. Not only is it good in the ring, but the story, the drama, everything that they did to build up to this moment is the definition of WrestleMania. This is how you build up a match. This is how you make us care about a championship that isn't a world title. They did everything perfect for this match. All right, folks, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you feel I got wrong. I feel like there's gonna be some debates about WrestleMania 37, but you let me know down in the comments below. But that's it, I'm done. Get out of here.